All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be going over the minimalism project. Sharing the Photoshop screen. I'm going to go to File, New. Again, you can't see the top little row of things, but I'll tell you what I'm pulling up. And in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull it down at 10 inches by 10 inches and set it to 300 resolution. Now the resolution is important because remember I can only go down, I can't go up. So if I set it too low to start with, my pictures are always going to be too small. Make sure this is in inches. If you do 10 pixels by 10 pixels, it's too small, it won't do you any good. So I'm going to hit create and it's going to give me this square canvas. Now in the minimalism project, there's a couple of things I want to talk about. One is the rulers. If you don't see the rulers up here on the side and on the top, if you go to view, pull down, you'll see rulers about midway down. Click that and your rulers should show up. Then from there, we can use what's called guides. Guides can be pulled out. If you click on the ruler and then pull out the ruler, you'll see that it's lining up. And I can set it to the 1 inch mark there, the 1 inch mark there, the 9 inch mark on this side, coming an inch in from the other side. And then at the bottom, of course, I'll go to the 9 inch mark as well. And what this does is this creates a nice little border kind of structure for me. I'm going to create a new layer. And in that layer, I'm going to create a box here. This is going to be my image area. I'm going to say edit, fill. And we'll fill with the foreground color. That'll give me a yellow box. Now, something I can do at this point, if I want to do something with the border and not have it be white or whatever, I could go back to my background layer and make a whole new, just select a color and then it will be separated from there. But I can also go here, I'm going to create another layer. I'm going to say select, modify, select inverse, it's the fourth one down. Again, you might not be able to see my little bar because I don't know why it does that, and what that does is it selects what wasn't selected. So now you can see the dancing ants are around the exterior of the yellow. I can say, I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna select blue color, sort of lighter blue, and say edit, fill, foreground color. And now I'm going to click and I'm going to name this one frame. And I'm going to name this one center. All right. So now these are relatively simple. I could go in and add some effects. I'm going to go down here and do like a bevel and emboss. That's going to give this a little shadowy edge. I can increase the depth of the bevel, the overall size of the bevel. You can see it's getting a little dramatic there, a little too much. So I'm going to bring it back down. And I can always soften the bevel some so it's not quite so smack you over the head. And so these are where you want to play with these. Now when you're using the FX tools, whatever is gray is what you see here. So if I come over here and I just click color overlay, none of this changes. But if I come over here and I click the word color overlay and you see this becomes gray, this changes. That's how you toggle between them. So if you have settings, you can just, oh, I'm gonna put stroke on. If you know if the stroke is set right, then you can just click on that. All right. So using the selection tool, we're gonna create a piece similar to the one in the example. All right, so I'm going to deselect, and that's just, I can go to select, deselect, or I can just hit Command D or Control D if you're on a PC. Now I'm going to make a box, and if you notice on the box in the bottom right hand corner as I'm pulling it out, you can see the measurements. If I hold down the Shift key, it holds it to a perfect square, and so I want it to be a perfect square. I'm going to create a new layer, and I'm going to say select, All right, I'm gonna go edit, sorry, edit fill. You can use the paint bucket. I like using fill because then I can go in and toggle the colors inside. And so let's say I want to do something like that. Say okay. And I can say edit. Now, I could really just continue making smaller squares, not a big deal, by drawing out the square tool. The trick would be to make sure that they all line up the same. But I can also go to select, modify, contract. Now, this allows me to make the selected area shrink a specific amount. So I'm gonna say 30 pixels. Boom. And you see it came in a little bit, not as much as I will want. So I'm gonna say select, modify, contract. So we definitely want it to be about 3 times that. So there we go. That's a little more pronounced. We'll make another layer. I'm gonna say edit, fill. And this time I'm gonna fill with a different color. I'll fill with 50% gray. And then I will do this again. Now, last time I selected, I modified my contracted layer by 30 then 90. So the total was 120. So I could just say 120 and I get the same size. Now the only problem is as I shrink down, if I'm using a circle or any other kind of soft shape, you'll start to see it boxing a little bit. It starts getting a little bit more curved. That's just an inherent problem with the pixel contraction tool. So edit, fill. And now I want to fill with the same color. So I'm going to go back to color. I'm going to come up here and I'm going to select that and, be like that. And say, okay, boom, select, modify, contract, 120, stays. Let's say edit, fill, back to the 50% gray. And I will continue doing this. Select, modify, contract, 120. Say edit, fill. Switch it back up to color. That was the last color I used, so it should be the same. Boom. Again, select, modify, contract. Select, all right, edit, fill. 50% gray. Select, modify. Track. I don't know why my brain just froze up. There you go. Edit, fill, switch back to foreground color. Oh, undo. Select, fill. I wasn't using foreground color. I was just using color. Okay. Boom. And then I'll do one more. Select, modify, contract. And I'll fill it with 50% gray. Now, so now these are the boxes that I'm going to be using. Oops, I did it all on one layer. Okay, well, let's do it that way. I'll merge down. So all my things are on one layer now. Now I'm going to call this the master square. So I can just use it over and over again. So I'll duplicate it. Hide the original because I don't want to mess it up. So let's say I want to take it, I'm going to put it in, let's hide the frame. There. And I'm going to make a folder and I'm going to call this project 1. Oh wait, I guess it helps if I name it. Project 1. We'll put that master square in that folder. All right. Oh, so for some reason it says pass through, so I'm gonna make sure. So anytime something isn't acting right, I always start with little bars at the top and see what the issue is. Somehow when I made that folder, it wasn't doing what it was supposed to. And then the problem was up here. All right, so now if I want to, I can duplicate this one. I can bring it over. There. Back here, I'll duplicate this one again. Okay. Now I'm duplicating the layers, kind of keeping it. All right. So now what I want to do is I want to go in and I want to start changing the colors. So I'm going to go back up here. And so this is going to be project 1. And I want the 2 in the back to be a different color. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select. And you see it's only selecting the color that's on that layer. So then I can come in and I can say edit, fill. And this time I'll just fill with the foreground color, the blue. Then I'll go up here. And this one, it isn't lined up right. So I'm going to see if I can get it to line up right. That's a little more on the money. And I'm going to grab the magic wand. Fill. Foreground color. And then, yeah, I'm like, well, I don't want to use the gray either for this. So I'm going here, I'll say edit. Fill. And I'm going to change it to, I don't know, I like yellow when it goes to blue. Then pop back down here. And I'll say edit, fill, color again, boom. And now this is starting to look a little dark in comparison to those. So I can come up here, I can say, oh, I'm make sure I'm on the right one. Remember, I'm holding down the shift key to add to the selected area. I'm gonna say edit, fill. And I'll keep it that yellow, see how this looks. Here. And say edit, fill. All right, so this is looking a little bit better. Now I can go in and I can add layer effects, but now it's going to affect everything on that layer. So if I wanted these to pop out from each other, then I'd have to separate them out onto different layers. And that's a little more advanced. We'll get to that later. Right now I'm looking for something simple like this. All right, so I'm going to stop this video and then I'm going to start up again and show you about rearranging them. All right, so